everybody. Welcome to Bad Beat Sports Betting. Here with Steve Primus, as always.
Yep. Now we're up to week 3. We've made it this far again with a lot of injuries now, though.
Yeah, week two was ridiculous. Really changed some of the outlooks on these week three games for sure. What was it? Seven ACL tears.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have like many more to come.
Well, yeah, the 49ers are playing on that MetLife turf again, so probably two or three more
Yeah,
for them. That was ridiculous,
Giants
by
and
the way.
Jets.
No, literally no one else backed them. Three other teams have played on the turf. The Jets and Giants have practiced there for most of the offseason, right?
It's not the turf. It's the fact that they didn't have a real off season.
Yeah, just
That's what happens when you go 0 to 100. A lot more players are gonna go down. That sucks, but I
yeah,
guess
like
once you get to like the halfway point, I guess they'll all be at game speed. But I think the next 2 to 3 weeks, you're gonna definitely see a few more significant injuries.
yeah, and it's interesting how it moves the spread throughout the week. Like if when like players are questionable, they go from questionable to doubtful, doubtful to out. Like the Eagles got a couple offensive linemen back and out instead of being, or actually, the line went opposite what I would think it would go because it opened up at -6. Now it's at -4, 4.5. So I think a lot of people are just expecting Carson Wentz and uh, his crew over there to destroy the Bengals coming off an 0-2 start. But I don't really see that happening. Do you?
What? I don't
Like
see the. I just don't see the Eagles losing this game. If I'm being honest.
but you think that they're 4.5 points better than the Bengals? I'm just weary of another backdoor cover
Yeah.
from the
So
Bengals like last week.
yeah, I get it. Like the Eagles are banged up and all, and they look a little lost. But like, I just think like the Bengals, they're coming off first overall pick last year. Now, the Eagles are still a playoff team, and I think the Eagles they got to stop the bleeding at some point. I think this is the week they do that, and they come off with a win. So I'm taking the Eagles here.
Well, the Eagles might be a playoff team, but are they a good team? Is my question. Because in the past two seasons, when they're not playing the Giants or the Redskins, they're 7-15. That's something to think about. Also, though, I could definitely see them winning the game. I just think it's going to be closer, and I know it's in Philadelphia. I just think it'll be a close field goal type game, especially because Zach Taylor's shown that he's not just because he has a rookie quarterback. He's not going to back down late in games. He's going to let Joe Burrow kind of just air it out. He threw 60 passes last game, and it's why they were able to cover versus the Browns,
Yeah,
which you
but
benefited from.
but um, but will that work this time around? I mean, I think the Eagles are a better team than the Browns.
Yeah, I'd say so. It depends. Carson Wentz should have more time to throw, but he still holds it too long. So if the coverage is good downfield, and I mean the Bengals have Trey Waynes, and I can't really name anyone else in their secondary, but that's a good start right there to cover the number one guy. We'll see if they can get home. If Carson Wentz gets rid of the ball, I think it could be a blowout. I just don't see it happening. He looks like a rookie quarterback the first 2 weeks to me.
Yeah, well, that's also because he had nobody on his O line.
Yeah, that's true. I think they missed three starters week one. And
Yeah.
Lane Johnson came back last week, but they were still missing two key pieces. All right, so recapping week two of the NFL season, I went 6-9. I thought we would see more covers by teams with big spreads like the Lions were +6.5, the Panthers were +8.5. They really didn't show up for their games. I also dropped one. I mean, the Falcons should have picked up that onside kick. It rolled too far. I feel like once it gets to the 8 yard line, and it wasn't even like a bouncing kick, it was rolling. You could just throw a body on top of it, then it's yours. But I lost that game because I had them with the money line. And then, of course, the Saints on Monday night were pretty much a no. Drew Brees was a no show. It looked a lot like this week's Thursday night game. It was one quarter. Derek Carr looked completely in control. He had Darren Waller all over the place, and Drew Brees looks lost without his go-to guy, Michael Thomas. You had a slightly better week.
My week was only slightly better though. It's 7-8. Started off pretty well with Thursday night with the Bengals +6, but then just a lot of games that I thought were like locks that just didn't pan out. Like Saints again, I took the Saints -5.5. I don't know what the hell happened there. The Chiefs too. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised in hindsight, even though I said that was easy money, that pick, and I'm kind of regretting that. But I just expected them to come out swinging against. I guess divisional matchup, but I just did not see that being a close game. And I also wasn't prepared for Tyrod Taylor to get his lung punctured by a doctor either.
Oh yeah, that definitely messed up the Chiefs' game plan, I think, because you go from a quarterback where you really don't have to respect the downfield passing to a quarterback who can get the ball to Keenan Allen. But of course, the Chiefs pulled out the game, but couldn't cover the touchdown.
The Bills -5.5. I thought that was another lock pick, and so that's three lock picks where that just threw me off. I was
Yeah,
expecting more from them, and that's I think why I got this below
that game
500
was
week.
weird. That game was weird because Josh Allen had his best game of his career, and the Dolphins, if you look at the numbers, they shouldn't have been in that game. Like it shouldn't have been just a 3-point game. Josh Allen had 4 touchdowns, over 300 yards. It should have been like a classic blowout. The Dolphins just found a way to stay in it. I was also shocked at the output the Vikings threw out there in Indianapolis. I think we both got that one wrong.
I had
You
the
had them
Vikings
winning.
money line.
Yeah, that was a shocker. I hope that they come out this week because I'm going with them again. Too many teams that shouldn't be 0-2. Also, interesting enough, the Chiefs are 0-2 against the spread this year because Deshaun Watson gave them a backdoor cover in week 1, and they obviously didn't cover last week against the Chargers. So it'll be interesting to see if they can cover the 3.5 against the Ravens. So I fell to 0-2 Thursday night. In Thursday night games, Steve's 2-0. I really thought the Jacks would come out with a better effort. I think, thinking back on it, it was kind of a lot to ask for, given not much time to prepare for the game. You typically don't even put pads on when you're playing a Thursday night game. You do a walkthrough Wednesday, no practice Monday, and then a quick installation on Tuesday. So going with Ryan Fitzpatrick was probably the move there, but the game did not turn out the way I thought it would.
I really don't know who to pick going into this one. I just leaned towards the Dolphins because Chark was out, and I was like, all right, Chark's out. I'm gonna roll with Dolphins. That was my only thinking with this game.
I don't know. Fitzpatrick just looked incredible. You could tell, like, from the first quarter, he wasn't going to let them lose with all the scrambles. He's the only quarterback that'll never slide feet first. He'd rather dive helmet first, and good for him.
Okay, so now we got 49ers and Giants. So I don't know. I was having a little trouble picking with this one, because 49ers are way better of a team than the Giants, but they're banged up, and again, so are the Giants losing Saquon, but the 49ers are a little more banged up. So like, I'm gonna pick the Giants against the spread. I do not see them winning the game, but I think they're gonna keep it close, and maybe that's just the fan of me. But last year, like Jones played most of his early games without Saquon, and he proved that he can play without the Giants' number one playmaker. And even like last week, Saquon went down. The Giants they never gave up. They were in it till the last second. So yeah, I'm taking the Giants +3.5 spread right here.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on this game. It's not just the backup quarterback and their third string run. Well, Jerick McKinnon's not a third string running back. It's just because they're completely loaded at that position. But they're also missing 2 of their best defensive linemen. They obviously traded one away this offseason, so they're down 3 pieces from last year. It's just not the same. They're down George Kittle. It's not the same 49ers team that there's no reason this team should be favorited on the road with all the injuries, especially with the Giants offense kind of coming alive in the second half. They started to find Evan Ingram, who needs to be a focal point now. But I think that the Giants definitely cover. I am pretty confident they'll win too, but I'm going with the plus.
I don't know. Maybe I'm pessimistic as a Giants fan. I don't see them winning, but I see it close. But we'll see.
Then we have the Texans at the Steelers. The Texans have just had extremely bad luck with this early schedule.
Yeah, it's
they
brutal.
play the 2 favorites in the AFC, and then the Steelers are a pretty distant third, but I think the consensus is they're the third favorite to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC.
Well, yeah, especially with Ben playing. Like, I didn't see the Steelers. Like, I kept picking against the Steelers, but like Ben's looking. I wasn't expecting Ben to look the way he does after the injuries and age and all that. But after last week, yeah, I could see the Steelers being a contender this year, especially with that defense.
Yeah, their defense might be the best in the league. Just all around, like in the secondary, you have Minka Fitzpatrick and some veteran cornerbacks. You have T.J. Watt, obviously, and then who plays? Oh, Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree's a up and coming superstar. But yeah, I think they'll definitely cover 4.5. Their offensive line is just going to push around the defensive line of the Texans. I think we're going to see big games from James Conner, which you'll love because you have him on your fantasy
Yeah.
team.
Also, Steelers getting was it DeCastro's coming back for them this week?
Yes,
Apparently he was out,
that's
so
another
that's
leader.
another reason.
Yeah, he's a great player. Definitely a big addition. And would you consider the Texans out if they fall to 0-3?
Yeah, I don't think any team's ever like come back from
Well, actually, Bill O'Brien's Texans are the only team to come back from an 0-3 start to make the.
Was it
Remember,
so?
they ran off 12 in a row after they went 0-3. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago.
What is the Titans at right now?
The Titans are 2-0.
Yeah, then no. In previous years, because the AFC South was lacking a little bit between, you got like, what is that? The Jaguars, Titans, Colts. But now the Colts are playing all right, and the Titans, are a good team. I like the Titans, so I just think if they drop to 0-3, that division's a lot tougher this year than it's been in the past. Besides the Jaguars.
Yeah, for sure. And even the Jaguars, they showed they're not going to roll over, at least against division teams.
But yeah, I'd see the Steelers win this. I'm taking Steelers -4. Texans bounce to 0-3, and their playoff hopes are getting harder and harder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we agree. We agree on that one. This next game, I have it highlighted as really difficult for me. I think the spread of now it started at 5.5. It went up to a full 6. Raiders at Patriots. I can't. I have the Patriots winning because it's in Foxborough, and I think Cam is a difference maker in this game for sure. But 6 points against this Raiders team who looked good against the Saints on Monday night. I feel like that's a tough spread to cover.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to take this Patriots spread because, and like again, I know the Raiders, they shocked us on Monday and all that. So now it's like, but one, you have them coming off a shortened week, and two, looks like Newton may have just found his game, and if he sticks, and if he has found his groove and he continues to play like this, it's going to get very dangerous for the rest of the league. So just give me Pats -6 here.
I'm worried about the Patriots secondary. Like that, I know it was Russell Wilson. He's going to be the MVP, barring anything drastic happening. But they lost a lot of key players, and I don't know who's going to cover Darren Waller down the field. And then even if you do shut down Waller, they still have speedy receivers like Ruggs, and I forgot who they picked in the 3rd round, but he's a pretty fast receiver. And then they also have Tyrell Williams. There's just a lot of pieces to cover, and then that's not even considering Josh Jacobs out of the backfield. So I think the Patriots will win, but I think Gruden will come up with a game plan to keep it close. I'd also take the under in that game, just because they're going to be running a lot. It's going to be a clock possession game, I think, a time of possession game. Next up, this one, I don't if you're watching on Red Zone, they might show this game twice. It's the Washington football team at the Browns. Not much going on here, but really 7.5 points for the Browns.
Yeah, I don't get that either. You're talking to kind of toilet teams up against each other.
The Browns are a better team for sure, but come on.
That line is too high.
Yeah.
Give me the football team 7.5 plus 7.5 right there. Let's go football team.
This one is Titans at Vikings. Titans have looked. The teams pretty much look polar opposites. The Titans look like they did last year in the second half, and the Vikings look like a completely different team from last year.
Yeah, this one wasn't.
The spread is -3, so that tells you that the odds makers think that the Titans are a much better team since they're favorites by a field goal on the road, especially in Minnesota. But I just can't see Minnesota falling to 0-3, especially with this home game. I'm taking the money line.
Yeah, I'm gonna take I'm taking Titans here. I don't want to pick against the Titans. The Vikings, again, they've looked lost, and I don't think the home field will make a big difference for the Vikings. I'm taking the Titans here. Let's go, Derrick
Yeah,
Henry.
if I lose this game, I don't think I'll pick the Vikings again the rest of the season.
See, I learned my lesson last week. I picked Vikings money line last week, and I'm like, nope, screw you, Vikings.
Then the next game is another mistake that I'm going to keep making. This mistake I've been making going back to last year, picking not the Vikings, the Falcons -3.5 at home versus the Bears. I just don't think the Bears could keep up with the Falcons offense.
It's so the Falcons are. I don't even know what's going on with them. It's like they did it again. They did it again. They this time only 19-point lead blown. Not what was it 23 in the Super Bowl.
But they
But
were the only team. I forgot what the stat was, but I'm gonna have to look it up. But they were the only team in NFL history to blow the kind of lead that they did with the time remaining.
yeah, it was. I was not expecting that, and I'm not gonna pick against them though because of that. I am gonna wind up taking. I'm gonna take the Falcons -3.5 here because the Bears, I don't think are a great team. They have a decent defense for sure, but so the Bears, they barely beat the Lions, who aren't a good team. They barely beat the Giants, who I hate to say it, but they aren't really a good team. And the Falcons are a much better team than both the Giants and the Lions. So I see this being I see the Falcons winning by at least a touchdown in this game.
Yeah, I have a hard time disagreeing with that. The Falcons just have way too much firepower. I don't think the defense is going to be much of a factor for the Bears. Next, a team that everybody loves, and this is a good barometer game because the first two games were against shitty teams in the division. Rams at Bills. The line closed a little bit from 2.5 to 1.5, and I'm eating it up. Like it's the Bills are a lock in this game. I think the Rams are kind of a fluky Owen.
Yeah.
I mean 2-0.
Yeah, because they got Dallas came out a little slow. Dak was getting no help from his receivers in that Sunday night game, and I Cowboys should have won that game in my opinion. They just did not play well. And then when they played the Eagles last week, the Rams,
Yeah,
yeah, and they played a banged up Eagles team. So, but also the Bills. I mean, they've only played where they played Jets and Dolphins, and I mean they did what they should have did against. They played the Jets the way they should have played them. Dolphins gave them more of a fight than probably should have. But this is going to be the Bills' first real challenge, I think, this year. And
yeah, for
but
sure.
I think they're going to meet that challenge, and especially this line is small. I'm taking Bills -1.5.
Yeah, I agree. I think Stephon Diggs. I'm not 100% sure what his numbers at, but I think that this might be an explosion game for him because Jalen Ramsey kind of likes to cheat, and I think with Josh Allen's arm, they can catch him with one of those long touchdown passes. The only thing that made me consider going with the Rams in this one is under Sean McVay, they're very good in September. I think I forgot what the record was. I think they're like 10-2 or something like that. But they're a very good September football team. But on the other side, you have, in my opinion, a top three coach in football with McDermott, so they'll be ready for it. Biggest spread of the week is my Jets at the Colts -11.5.
Oh man,
People seem to be eating up the Colts too. Most of the tickets are coming in covering that 11.5
yeah,
point spread.
I don't know. It's like, man, I know we all love to hate on the Jets and kick them when they're down, but and the thing is, yes, they had a brutal first 2 weeks, but look who they played the first 2 weeks too. The Jets, they played, you know, last year Super Bowl runner-up in the 49ers. And yeah, they got banged up in that game because the MetLife turf, but um, then they also played the Bills, who we just discussed that we both agree are a good team. The Colts aren't a bad team, and they could very well be a playoff team, but I still just don't get the Colts hype.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
either.
not a huge fan of Rivers. but I don't. Again, I'm not saying the Jets are going to come out and win, but I think that's a very high line, and I think the Jets have to play with a little more urgency. I think Darnold will step up a little more and stop looking like a rookie this week. And I think it'll be a little closer than 11.5. Maybe the Jets
Hope
lose by
so.
a touchdown.
Hope so. I'm taking the 11 and a half on the show just because I can't advise taking the money line here. But personally, plus 440 against Philip Rivers, I'm gonna take a chance on that. But I would definitely take the Jets to cover. 11 and a half is way too much. Next up, Panthers at Chargers. This one was tough because you don't know what you're getting second week out of um, what's his name, Justin Herbert. No Christian McCaffrey, so how are the Panthers gonna go? I'm just going with the money line for the Chargers just because I don't know if their rookie quarterback and their offense could cover a 6.5 point spread.
This might have been the hardest game I had choosing this week. Because, the Chargers managed to make me eat my words when I called that Chiefs minus 8.5 last week an easy pick. Again, wasn't expecting Tyrod to get his lung punctured by whatever discount Craigslist doctor the Chargers are using. But I think this line is still a bit high. I know McCaffrey's out, but the Chargers have looked alright. I mean, the Panthers haven't looked bad at all. I mean, I don't think either one of these teams are, phenomenal playoff caliber teams. I think they're almost at equal level talent wise, even without McCaffrey. So I see this being close. And so I see this being close. So I'm actually gonna take Panthers to go against the spread. Actually, I actually had Chargers minus 6.5 written, but I just changed my mind right now on the fly as I started thinking about it.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. That's why I'm staying away from the spread at this game for sure. I just I'm not gonna watch it obviously just because it's on the same time as the Jets, but it'll be interesting to see if the Panthers have the same game plan with Mike Davis filling in, who's been a serviceable running back in his career, or if they let Bridgewater kind of air it out a little bit against the Chargers secondary that doesn't have their best player. Next up, Buccaneers at Broncos.
Yeah.
This game has a lot of underlying things going on
Yeah.
because of.
What do you got? The Broncos starting their like 5,000th new quarterback since Peyton retired.
Is
I
it
don't know.
Blake Bortles or Jeff Driscoll?
I
Did
think
they
it's
announce?
Driscoll.
I think it's
I
Driscoll
think they just
because
brought him because they just signed Bortles like this week, right?
yeah. So they'll
Yeah, there's
if
no way
the
he's playing yet.
yeah maybe next week if anything. But it's 5.5 points. Buccaneers favored on the road. This is I've been rethinking this one. It was actually on my mind for a lot of the day yesterday because Tom Brady. There's not many teams that Tom Brady's had trouble with in his career. Like obviously Miami, you could point to last year, and he's had a tough time playing the Dolphins on the road. But he's had even more trouble playing the Broncos in his career. Like obviously some of the games were against Peyton Manning, but a majority of them aren't. He's 4-7 in his career against the Broncos. I think he only has one win in Denver.
Really?
So maybe I don't know if it's the high altitude or just good Denver defenses. I'm still going with the Bucks minus 5.5, but because of the backup quarterback and missing Sutton, not having Von Miller in there, but I would not be surprised if this one gets highlighted red as a loss next week.
Yeah, I'm sticking with that. Bucks minus 5.5. Again, for me, it's the millionth new quarterback, and I like how Brady played last week. Give me them
Yeah, he
Brady
looked good.
Bucks.
He's Brady's gonna fatten up his stats over the next 4 weeks because they don't have. I think the only competitive matchup that they have on their schedule is the Packers, and then so he'll be able to beat up on some weak defenses. Everyone will say he's back, and then second half of the season, he'll look like he has a noodle arm again, just like last year. But it'll be good for them to get momentum, maybe get Gronk involved in some non-competitive games. Next up, Lions at Cardinals. This was actually a very good game last year. I don't think it was. It might have been week 3 actually. It was around the same time. Very exciting, very competitive. I don't think it'll be close this time. I think
No.
the Cardinals will run away with
Yeah.
it.
So again, I'm gonna continue going against the Lions, and I'm gonna continue crapping on them all year long. I really like Murray. I liked him, you know, back when the Giants were looking for a quarterback in the draft. I actually didn't think Murray was gonna go first overall, and I kept clinging on to hope that I was like, oh, maybe he'll be a Giant. I like, but at the end of the day, he belongs in Arizona. That's the perfect fit for him. That coaching scheme and everything, like that offense is built for him, and I like how they're using him so much right now, and I'm definitely taking the Cards to cover that -5.5 spread.
Yeah, we saw I think Aaron Rodgers is probably still a better passer than Kyler Murray slightly, but we saw him pick on uh, what's the rookie that they picked third overall? Okuda, Jeff Okuda out of Ohio State. We saw Rodgers kind of pick on him a little bit last game. I could see the Cardinals just doing the same thing with DeAndre Hopkins down the field. I think 5.5 is an easy cover. That the last 4:25 game. This has to be the game of the week. Cowboys at
Oh yeah, this is
Seahawks.
gonna be an exciting game. Hopefully, this is the game we
The
get.
point total is 57, and I think that they're gonna blow over that. I could see this being like a 40-37
Yeah.
type of game.
Combined, I think if you combine both quarterbacks' total yardage last week, it comes in almost at 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, I went up against Dak, and I had Russell in fantasy.
I think Dak was the only player ever to have 3 rushing touchdowns and 300 passing yards.
Dude.
Just an incredible game. I think the Seahawks will cover the 5 points, even though I just said 40-37. That was just an example of the score. I think they'll cover the 5 points, but it'll definitely be a back and forth type of game. It'll come down to Russell Wilson just being Russell Wilson
Yeah,
at home.
I don't know. So for me, again, we got both quarterbacks coming off of solid performances, and you're talking both talented teams. Both are most likely playoff. Well, obviously we know Seahawks are definitely gonna be a playoff team, and I think the Cowboys will be a playoff team. I think they win the NFC East this year. Um, I'm gonna give a slight edge to the Seahawks, but I'm only giving them a slight edge, so I'm only gonna take their money line in this one. I see them coming off with the win, but it's gonna be a close, competitive, exciting game.
Yeah, I could definitely see the Cowboys hanging in there to make it a field goal type of game. The only thing is, last week it definitely helped the Patriots offense that they had a quarterback like Cam that could run, and also the Seahawks lost Quandre Diggs in the first quarter to a personal foul. So I think that definitely helped the Patriots stay in the game. He'll be playing. He'll be playing this week, so I see the Seahawks covering the 5 points. Then we have Sunday night, another primetime game for the Saints. Packers, Saints, Rodgers, Breeze. Saints are -3 at home, so it's pretty much a pick 'em. This one's tough. All right, so I went with the Packers money line. I would normally go with the Saints. Both teams are missing their best receiver, but it just looks like the Packers will just lean on what's his name, Aaron Jones, and then maybe try to spread the ball out to Lazard and who else do they even have? Do they still have Jerome Madison or whatever?
See, I'm going Packers money line because again, you had Saints just looked quite terrible on Monday, and again, yeah, I think the both teams being down their star receiver definitely makes it a little harder to choose. But I feel like Aaron Rodgers has gone his whole career without like good receivers, except here and there he's had early on he had some good ones, but the
And I
past
think
how
didn't
many years?
didn't Adams miss time last year as well,
Yeah, I
and
believe
they
so.
rolled pretty well without him. The offense just completely changes for the Saints without Michael Thomas because he's always running that slant route or an out route that Breeze could just make easily.
Yeah, I would expect to see the Saints try to run a lot more with Kamara and see him trying to get in Taysom Hill in for some plays. I think they're going to try to I think they're gonna try to overcompensate too much for Thomas being out, and I think that gonna try to get too fancy. And
I wonder if they'll consider doing what the 49ers did last year in the championship game and just like going with three running backs. Well, they have a better fullback, but I guess Taysom Hill could be the lead blocker as a fullback and just like running it down the Packers' throats. That's the only way I could see the Saints winning because the Packers still don't have a very good rush defense. But I still think that the Packers win the game. Just with the money line, there's a lot more value to the money line than taking the plus 3, just because you get minus 110 with the plus 3. With the money line, you're actually getting 143, so you could make a couple extra bucks with that. Then we have the primetime games this week besides Thursday night are incredible. Chiefs, Ravens, they played week 3 last year with the Chiefs winning. It was in Kansas City, though. This one is in Baltimore, and that's what the spread shows. It's minus 3.5 toward the Ravens.
yeah, which basically means that this game's a toss-up.
Yeah, and I think that it would be closer if the Chargers didn't just play a close game against the Chargers. But I see the Chiefs coming out and definitely covering this and winning the game. Well, not covering, they'll win the game. I'm almost positive of that.
I'm going just Chiefs money line here again because one, as the underdogs, that's gonna be a better value pick. But I get it. They didn't have a great game against the Chargers, but I think you got to factor in Chargers are a division rival. They're gonna play them tough no matter what. And again, the Chiefs were not ready for Justin Herbert. I think I think it's gonna be an exciting game. Well, what is the over under on this game?
This one has to be high. I might have messed up this game with the Seahawks. I'm pretty sure this one is 57.
Yeah, I was about to say this is gonna be a high scoring game, exciting high scoring game. But I still think the Chiefs are a better team. Uh, I mean I'm not saying that's not to knock anything on the Ravens. They are a very good team, but I think there's a few difference makers in this, and I think Patrick Mahomes is one of those difference makers.
Yeah, for sure.
He's
And
just
you're
like,
getting tremendous value with the money line plus 155.
yeah, it's hard to want to pick against. Um, Anytime you have a chance to get value in a Chiefs money line, I feel like you gotta take it.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure they probably weren't underdogs in any game last year.
No, it's very rare you're gonna get a Chiefs underdog game.
Who did Baltimore played the Browns, and then who did they have week 1?
I'll look it up right now.
Or no, they played the Browns week 1, then the Texans. So I kind of view that as beating up on two bad teams.
Yeah, so, especially the Browns, which the Browns. Oh no, the Browns were not close at all. I had the freaking the arrow was over the six. I was like, oh, 38-36. I'm like, no, it was 38-6.
Yeah, the
And
Browns
then
were not
they
ready
blew
for
out the
that game.
Texans too. But so did the Chiefs. It's
Yeah,
gonna be a
they
close
just
game.
didn't beat up on the second bad team. But I think if they were both coming in off of 2 blowout wins, I think the Chiefs would be favorited still in this game. But I'm taking the money line for sure, and that's the week. I think it'll be a good week. I need
Yeah.
to win it. I need to
Hopefully,
win
we both make it over 500 this week. It's been a rough start to the season so far.
Yeah, for sure. But it's been tough for like it's hard to call these games.
Yeah, there's so many factors. First, you had again one you have no crowd, so there's really no home field advantage besides being able to sleep in your own bed before a game. Um, well, it's all the injuries because there's no real off season. Definitely tough. I think by the time we get to like week 4 or 5, it's gonna be a lot easier to figure this stuff out. All right, so here's a quick recap of my week in case you didn't hear me mumbling. All right, so I already won with the Dolphins money line on Thursday. I'm gonna take Eagles minus 4.5. Got Giants plus 3.5. Taking Steelers minus 4. Patriots minus 6. The football team plus 7.5. Titans minus 3. Falcons money line. Bills minus 1.5. Getting bold with the Jets plus 11.5. Panthers 6.5. Bucks -5.5, Cardinals -5.5, and then we got Seahawks money line, Packers money line, Chiefs money line.
Yeah, I'm going. The games that I'm going against Steve on are Bengals. I'm taking them +4.5 versus the Eagles. I got the Patriots money line instead of the -6. I'm just not as confident as Steve is for them to cover. Going against him with the Vikings winning outright against the Titans. Then we have Chargers. I'm taking the Chargers. Steve's taking them to win but not cover the 6.5. And then in the 4 o'clock window, we're both going with the Seahawks, but I have a 5-point cover. Steve has the money line. We're both taking the road team with the money line on Sunday and Monday night. So it'll be a good week. You could either really separate the records or we can come closer because we have, I'd say, probably half the board different.
Let's see. If I take one good week, will bring me over 500 for this season now. Because now I'm at 12-15-1. Even you're 12-17-1. So both have a good week and really change the course of this season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, best of luck to you. Best of luck to everyone.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for watching, guys.